a warm welcome to another edition of To The Point. After defense, oil and gas exploration is becoming the second big area of bilateral cooperation. With a new hydrocarbon policy in place, how does the gas and oil economy take shape from here on? Joining me now is Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan. Welcome, sir, and To The Point. Sir, if you look at the India's oil shopping list, where we saw that Iraq was basically replaced by Saudi Arabia, then it was taken over by South America. And now with the recent deal which has taken place between Russian oil giant Rosneft and SR, do you see any kind of a geopolitical change between India and Russia, or where we see that Russia probably is going to take an upper hand?
No, whole world is looking towards India. You will appreciate India is now third energy consumer, hydrocarbon energy consumer in the world. We have surpassed Japan. In next 25 years, if all the world agency has analyzed by 2040, if anything will happen in energy market in the world, that is India. So India is aspiring economy. India has a vast population of young people, and we need energy for our development, for our socio-economic transformation. We need energy. To secure our energy, and another way, India is in a way net importer of our energy requirement. So we have to have our energy security in a different part of world through long-term contract, through asset equation, and through smart purchasing mechanism. And we are open to all the markets. We are not fixed in any market, whether it is Middle East, whether it is South America, whether it is Russia, whether it is Southeast Asia. India is open to all market. We will prefer hydrocarbon. Wherever we will get good terms, wherever we will get a smart price, wherever our bilateral interest will be mutual for not only for energy, not only for hydrocarbon, for holistic aspiration of India, where we can achieve our target, there will be our deal.
But with this Rosneft deal which has just taken place with SR, it's the biggest acquisition and the biggest FDI which we have seen so far. Are we expecting some kind of a price war between the West Asian nations? Because obviously for them they have an advantage because of the lower transportation cost. So are we going to see some kind of a price war?
No. As in today, bringing hydrocarbon from West Asia is a challenging situation for India, because there is no transportation route from West Asia. We have some asset in Kazakhstan. Since long we are talking to Turkmenistan. We are very much keen to bring hydrocarbon from Russia.
We are also talking about an energy bridge between India and Russia.
Exactly.
So has any work begun on that?
The issue you have mentioned with this Rosneft and SR deal, this is around $13 billion worth. Another, India has invested more than $5.5 billion in Russian hydrocarbon industry. So in total, this is around 18 billion. Beyond that, both the countries have formed one working group in front of Honorable Prime Minister and President Putin. That MOU have signed between two companies. From Indian side it is EIL, from Russian side it is Gazprom. We are planning to build up a direct pipeline from Russia to India. Whether it can come through China, it can come through Iran. So this is open, and we are looking into, by next 6-7 months we will be looking into feasibility part of it. If that pipeline will come up, then the issue you have raised, the gateway of West Asia and India will be complete, and India will be more energy secured, and the new economy will come. Then as a major producer, West Asia is one among the major producer, and India is the new market. This link can be established, and this will be a win-win situation for both the area.
But this particular deal, how does it benefit the consumers? Because a lot of industrialists and analysts are saying that, since the time this deal has been signed, there would be probably a surge in consumer-focused areas and probably the retail fueling. So
that's the issue. If you look into some of the development in last few months in Indian market, as I said, India has emerged as a third consumer of the world. Consumer are the king now. Consumer has a choice now. Now there are 3 oil marketing company of governments: Indian Oil Corporation, BPCL and HPCL. Since last 2 years, we have took one decision for deregulating our market from price mechanism. Now the company are free to take their own price mechanism. Since long SR was not functioning, Reliance was not functioning, they have started operating now. And additional to that, Haldia Petrochemical has taken one license, British Petroleum has taken one license, and this SR deal, the oil majors like Rosneft and Trafigura will come. Trafigura is also one among the smart trading agency, the trading agency. The trading agency and the producer has come together and they are putting their investment in the market, in the growing market. Certainly this kind of qualitative competition, whether it is from oil marketing company of Government of India, whether it is Reliance, whether it is Rosneft, whether it is British Petroleum, whether it is Haldia Petrochemicals, all these, whether Total, whether it is Shell, all these, when the consumer have a multiple choice of retail outlet, then consumer will be at advantage.
Okay. There is another divergent view which is coming since the deal has been signed. And for example, ICICI's Chanda Kochar said that the ruyers and the buyers must have benefited out of these deals because obviously the ruyers will be able to pay off their debts and all. But it's a loss for India Inc. in the sense that, we are allowing a foreign company to come and exploit the oil and gas explorations here. But this opportunity could have been given to any of the Indian refiners. Would you agree with this view?
It's a purely business deal. Let me correct you. They are not into, SR is not into what they have sold. The refinery and port, the retail market, retail business. It's nothing related to exploration production area. Anybody could have been taken, but they choose to sell it to Rosneft. It's a smart business deal. It's up to them, it's up to their board, whom they will sell. They have sold and in a modern world, in a new economy, how can we everybody is interested to invest in India. How can we devour a country, and a friendly country like Russia, to invest in our market? What's wrong in that?
Now coming to the new hydrocarbon policy which has been put in place by the government, Prime Minister has been talking about reducing the fuel dependency by 10% by 2022. How soon can we really see the things in proper place as far as the gas economy is concerned, the oil economy is concerned? With this new policy, how soon can we see things rolling out in a proper manner?
Let me explain you how the Indian production scenario is there. Up to 90s, two state oil majors, ONGC and Oil India, were authorized to exploit the Indian sediments. After 90s, after open up of our economy, we opt for the bidding mechanism with the new PSC model. We have experience of 25 years in the PSC model through the bidding round, which is known as New Exploration Licensing Policy, NELP, and some of the block were given in the pre-NELP era. So with this 25 years of experience, we could realize India could have been monetized in a bigger way that we could not due to some bottleneck, due to some lack of experience, due to some disputes, we could not do that. So when Prime Minister Modi
But you solely lay the blame to the systemic failures within the government.
Yes, as I said, from 90 to 2015, in these 25 years, we could have been monetized in a bigger way. That there was no data assessment, there was no new survey, there was no new acquisition of sediments. All these challenges are there. But with some of the new reforms by Prime Minister Modi, we could create new fiscal model where investment will be incentivized, where monetize can possible, where debottleneck will possible. These lot of reforms, whether it is HELP, whether it is discover small field, whether it is 9-point debottlenecking, whether it is revenue sharing model from production sharing model, all these new reforms we could organize. That will facilitate, as you said, that will augment our production. There are three simple strategies to reduce 10% import dependency by next few years. Number one, augment your production. That's why we have reformed so many areas. We have create new economy model, we have given good fiscal stability, we have given certainty to investment, we have given price freedom and marketing freedom to the producer and the seller. All these reform will certainly create new capacity that will augment our production. Number 2 area will be how do we opt for the new energy model. How can we, there is a lot of scientific developments are there, if we could monetize our biomass, the agricultural waste, the urban waste, if we can monetize them, technologies are there. Lot of problems are there with these two elements. For the urban waste, for the agricultural waste, there are huge environmental burden is there. If we can monetize them, that will create a new economy. That will be the second area of contribution. And number 3, through conservation. We have to conserve the resource for the future. That's the area through efficient mechanism, through efficient technology, you can reduce the consumption, augment your production, create new verticals for energy like biomass, and through conservation, you can reduce your consumption by 10% with next few years. That's the strategy we are adopting.
I'll just take a small example. Like in the past, we have seen that the government and Reliance have been embroiled in some kind of a dispute at the court, and the case is already in the court over pricing issue. So this revenue sharing contract versus the earlier regime, which was production sharing contract. Are we going to see that these disputes, these kind of disputes, will not happen? I mean, the new regime, does it allow these disputes not to take place at all?
Exactly. When in the production sharing contract, there are a lot of observation from agencies like CAG. Court has given some observation. And there are some parliamentary structure. How do we function ourselves? How should be the mechanism? I cannot blame anybody for this particular crisis. System is the challenge. System is the issue. So we have to, if there are some bottleneck, then government analyze what are the area of concern. How do we debottleneck them? You are absolutely right. That's the one of the primary concern. How to reduce the dispute, how to reduce the conflict. But that is one of the single most reason we have opted for the revenue sharing model. Here, government has two interests. How much more revenue government will get? Let the day-to-day management should be run by the promoter, should be investor.
So which means that the government intervention will be minimal.
Exactly.
Like earlier we have seen that government used to sign
Exactly. Government was micro monitoring the production contract model. Here, the Prime Minister's philosophy of minimum government, maximum governance, that is the applied part of this new policy.
Mr. Pradhan, I remember 2 years ago you had mentioned in one of your interviews that at the time of 2014 elections, you said that ONGC and the oil companies are not performing properly. Now, 2 years down the line, you have been a minister yourself. Are you satisfied with the way oil production is happening? Because we aren't seeing too much of production happening. It's actually very low at this point.
No, I am not satisfied. But this new team is very much focused how to augment their production. They are bringing new technology. We have given them some policy protection. We have handholding them. But ONGC has to perform. Not only ONGC cannot be blamed singularly. There was no data assessment since last 25 years. There is no new survey since last 25 years. There is no proper interpretation of existing data since 25 years. Why should I blame ONGC only? The whole system, we unbundle ourselves in mid-90s. But we could not visualize how to add on the new sediments, how to add on the new area.
But how much of your focus is basically on R&D? For example, we just have about one petrochemical university in Dehradun. So new universities, new research centers need to come up. So what is there in the pipeline? Are we going to see a growth of such kind of research centers?
You see, there is a perennial, there is a chronic problem in Indian policy making. It's that there is no link between policy maker, industry and institution.
Right.
Dehradun, Petroleum Institute of Dehradun is a single issue. Dhanwad School of Mining is there. Good IITs are there. Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Petroleum University is there in Ahmedabad. There is no dearth of institution. But whole issue is how to create a synergy between that institution with industry, and that should be linked to the policy. This synergy is not there in Indian scenario. Prime Minister Modi is very keen to create this synergy with scientific community, through entrepreneurs and through policymakers. We have to work in tandem, we have to work in together. That's a new initiative by Prime Minister Modi's governance. That is the area very much we are focusing.
Obviously, time will tell how this policy gets played out, and your test will be there in 2019 and then in the future years as well.
It's not an issue of election. It's
No,
a
no,
long-term issue. Please let's not limit this kind of debate to an election issue. That is the media should understand this one also. These are the long-standing projects. When I'm talking about 25 years, I'm not blaming anybody. Rightly in 90s, those who have unbundled our hydrocarbon sector, they have done right thing. But they could have visualized what about research, what about R&D, what about new acquisition of the assets. That we could not visualize. Now we are visualizing, that we are creating the mechanism. So I cannot blame the previous guy and don't expect anything by 2019. Don't trivialize the whole debate to a small election orientation issue.
Taking you away now from this issue to the stickiest part of what the consumers are talking about, that during Manmohan Singh's government also, we saw the crude oil prices skyrocketing, then it came down, but the end benefit is not passing to the consumers, and day in and day out consumers are asking that we are not getting the benefit. So how would you really convince the consumers who start comparing your government with Manmohan Singh's government that not much of a difference has taken place when it comes to the pricing of petrol, pricing of diesel is concerned?
I think knowledgeable and smart journalists like you, Neeluji, you should do homework properly. Statistics is saying 50% of the benefit we have passed on to the consumer. I have not hid anything in parliament. In public domain, I am repeatedly saying one thing. Yes, we have kept 50% in government treasury. In welfare state, government has its commitment to pass on other kind of infrastructure. Government is responsible for education. Government is responsible for clean drinking water. Government is responsible for roads. And whatever we have collecting in the central tax revenue, 42% out of that we are resending that to states. That's the 14 Finance Commission's recommendation. But let me give you 3 examples. When I'm talking about data assessment, since last 25 years, government has not spent a single pie on data assessment. Now this government is spending 5,000 crore in the new data acquisition. Number 2, you have analyzed Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. After LPG has a 50 years of history in this country. For the first time in India, poor will be benefited by a government scheme for LPG. Government will spend 8,000 crore in next 3 years in the PM Ujjwala Yojana. Number 3, for the first time in Eastern India, government is spending more than 5,000 crore in a new pipeline. How do you organize money? Do you think this belief of Indian philosophy, Unang Kurtang Grutang Pibet Jabat Jiban Sukhi Babet, should you opt that line? When the price will spike, if we have some caution, we have some shock absorbing capacity in government's hand, then it can be replaced, revert back to consumers. It's a wise economy. In a wise economy, don't pass on everything to the consumer. That will create inflation, that will put people in a bigger problem. We have passed on 50% of its benefit to consumer, and we have saved 50% and reinvest in pipeline, in Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, in new survey, in new roads, in healthcare service, in agriculture development.
So the rest of the benefit is going to be passed on through these schemes.
We are passing on.
Mr. Pradhan, now coming to the Ujjwala gas connections. I visited so many districts in UP, and even the political analysts say that it's some sort of a game changer. In what terms would you really see this as a game changer?
When the poorest of the poor will empower, that is the game changer. When Prime Minister Modi took charge of this government in 2014 May, in his first speech in Central Hall, he committed himself. His government is committed to welfare of women, poor and youth. We are committed to empower women of this country and poorest of the poor women of this country. LPG connection by Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana is the game changer. So, it's taking care of the health of the poor woman, it's taking care of the time of the health woman, it's giving a financial and social empowerment. When a new gas connection is coming to her house, in her name, the direct subsidy will come to her bank account. This creates that whole weapon of Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, creating an empowerment to the poor woman. That's the game changer.
The scheme talks about one gas connection per every household. Now, the opposition, it sees it not like a social welfare scheme, but as a political strategy. What would you have to say? Or what would you tell the
what
opposition?
prevented them to do all such things in their tenure? Nobody has prevented them. They have said crocodile tears and poor only. Since 70s, their legacy is telling we are for poor. Who prevented them to create this kind of welfare scheme? Is it a sin to think about poor? Think about poor women? We should not think in that way. They have done a lot of good things. My Prime Minister is very open and very generous on all such appreciation from Lal Killa, from inside the Parliament. We have never hesitated to appreciate my opponent's work. But why they are in pain to appreciate Prime Minister Modi's pro-poor initiative?
In fact, parties like Congress and Samajwadi Party, they have also gone to the extent of saying that the idea behind launching the whole gas connection scheme in UP was keeping an eye on UP elections and the state elections.
That's their meanness and that's their limited understanding of the whole women empowerment and poor empowerment. Let me give one example. The Amethi is represented by Gandhi family since long. The first family of Congress party, they are the ruler. They were the ruler for a long period. But let me reveal one statistics from Amethi. Only 27% household of Amethi is connected through clean cooking fuel, LPG. Who prevented this powerful family to fortify that district in 100%? Who prevented them? The gentleman is talking about poverty of India. Who prevent him to take care of his own constituency? So it is their hypocrisy, it is their duplicity. They are in pain because poor of the country is rallying behind Prime Minister Modi.
Mr. Pradhan, coming to the actual problems which are being faced by the people, and as far as the rolling out of Ujjwala is concerned, we were going through so many districts, and there was one major discrepancy in the SEC list, the beneficiaries. How would you really target the real beneficiaries? And there were a lot of people whose names were not there in the list. The scheme, of course, is very impactful. People are very happy with the way the scheme has rolled out. But this teething trouble of the names and targeting the real beneficiaries, does it not look like a very big challenge at the moment?
Politely, I will request you, Neelu, don't generalize the thing. You have already visited the fields and you are appreciating the whole scheme. Let's see, the whole LPG scheme has a history of 50 years. In 50 years, now India has a household of around 27 to 28 crore. Out of that household, around 18 crore household is connected through LPG. In the past 50 years, from 55 to 2014, in this 60 years, we could only connect up to 14 crore household. In last 2 years, 2.5 years, we have connected more than 4 crore new connection. This is the growth. This is the parameters. When you implemented such a huge scheme in a short time span, you have to policy driven. What option we would have? That's SCCC. 85%, 90% SCCC is not prepared by Prime Minister Modi.
Of course.
It's a continuous process. Previous Congress government has prepared the SCCC list. Respective state government has prepared the SCCC list. That is the latest list. That is the new list. We have opted the new list. 85 to 90% list is perfect. Yes, there are some certain anomalies. I am admitting that. And Ministry of Rural Development is creating new policy, new rules, how to accommodate those who have left. It's not fixed, it's dynamic, they can be added.
But like in 2011 SEC list, we were seeing that about 7 to 8 parameters were taken. Now, if you have to target more number of households, do we see a possibility where probably you will narrow down the parameters and maybe you will just take about 3-4 parameters on the basis of
LPG connection? We have taken all the parameters, so it is very open and.
So there's no further narrowing down of.
Single deprivation is deprivation. Single deprivation is deprivation. 7 deprivation is 100% deprivation. In our policy, in our scheme, if a person is deprived for 1 point, he is also entitled. If he is deprived for all the 7 points, he is also entitled. So there is no discrimination. We have accepted single deprivation is also beneficiary.
I also came across instances where people in one village said that in their name, supposing if a woman's name is Lakshmi and there is another Lakshmi in another village, so apparently the connections have been given to that lady.
No, I
Now,
don't
once
think.
the connections have been
I
given,
don't think this is not a general example. Yes, some left out in SSCC list is a issue. I have
but there is
recognized that.
there's no.
No, I don't think this is isolate this kind of thing. Maybe I should. Technology is so clear now. There are four level checks. Number one, they must be in the Aadhaar list. They must have bank accounts. They must have. They must not have SCC. They must be in SCC list, and they must not have old LPG connection. Through this Aadhaar, SCC list, bank account, and deduplication in LPG. With this four process, if the person is coming out, then he is or she is the beneficiary. And according to my statistics, things are very enthusiastic.
Now, taking you away from Petroleum Ministry and coming to Odisha politics, just last two questions, I have to wind up the show. You're also a man who's the face of Odisha. And recently there were reports that BJD leaders had expressed their disappointment that BJP leaders are trying to appropriate Biju Patnaik's legacy. What would you have to tell the BJD leaders when they come up with statements like
National
these?
personalities are not belong to any party or any family. Mahatma Gandhi is not belong to any party or any family. It's a national asset. If as a Odia, if I feel proud about our legendary person Biju Patnaik, anybody has monopoly on Biju Patnaik ji? Biju Patnaik is a statesman. Biju Patnaik was a national hero. So as a Odia, I am proud of him. So nobody has a monopoly, no personality, no party and no group as a monopoly of a national hero.
During Assam elections, we saw Sarbananda Sonowal going from centre to Assam. Are we also going to see Dharmendra Pradhan moving out of the Petroleum Ministry and becoming the Chief Minister of Odisha?
I don't know. I'm a loyal soldier of my party. Whatever party asks me to do, that I'm doing. It's not an issue who is going where.
Thank you, Mr. Pradhan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's it on this episode of To The Point. See you next time with another personality. Goodbye and thanks for watching.